Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the ASN Podcast. This is Khatchaturian, joined alongside Jason Takhtadjian for another exhilarating episode where we'll be catching you up on all things Armenian sports. We are recording this on Tuesday, July 15. We're in the smack dab in the middle of summer, and things are heating up, Jason.
Yep, that's like literally the most important. That's the biggest thing going on right now. Things are hitting up, even though it's the off season. It's hot outside. I'm sweaty. I'm tired, but Armenian sports continues even in the off season. But yeah, it's good that we're kind of getting back on the swing of things when it comes to the podcast side of stuff, because like you said, things are happening.
A lot of things are happening, and there isn't like a major event or a major fight, but there's a lot of other thing, like a lot of individual things going on. And we're going to start in with the 2025-26 UEFA Champions League qualifying. We just had the FIFA Club World Cup come to an end, where your Chelsea defeated PSG in a dominating upset. But now it's time to turn the page onto next season as the UEFA Champions League qualifying begins. In their first qualifying round, FC Noah was in the middle of it all against Buduknost Podgorica of Montenegro. They won the first leg 1-0, and then the second leg, it was a 2-2 draw, which actually took place today. Again, we're recording this Tuesday, July 15, and Noah on aggregate advances 3-2, and they'll go to the second qualifying round now. Exciting for Noah. It's good to see an Armenian club advance in the Champions League qualifying stages.
It's good to see not just any club, right? It's the club that did the same thing in the Conference League last year, going through all the qualifying rounds and actually qualifying for the group phase. Now Noah, they got the first step behind them. They got the first qualifying rounds done, and they get to look forward to basically the next opponent. I'm not exactly sure who they face.
It's a Hungarian team.
It's a Hungarian team.
Yes.
Oh, Ferencváros. Well,
what do you know about Ferencváros?
If they end up beating Ferencváros, that would probably be one of their biggest wins, period. That's the Hungarian champions, if I'm not mistaken, and they're no slouches. I remember watching them, and this is a very specific random memory of watching Ferencváros against, I believe, Athletic Bilbao in South Dakota, in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, waiting for my flight to go back home, because they were playing a game, and I think, let me take that back. It wasn't. It was against Real Betis against Ferencváros, and the reason why is because of Nabil Fekir. I remember, I think he scored a goal in that game, or he was playing really good in that game. But yeah, long story short, I say all of that to say that Ferencváros is no joke. So if FC Noah can actually beat them, yeah, that definitely goes down as one of the biggest results in their history and of all Armenian Premier League teams.
We're talking about a Armenian Premier League team here, though, that got they got crushed by Chelsea in the Conference League last year. But that's some good experience going up against the Club World Cup champions. It's you're going up against the best in the world, and yes, you lose big time, but I think that loss, you're seeing it now, how much it really helped improve the team. You're looking at the film from that game. You're looking at you're playing against the best in the world and getting better. You only get better in anything by going up against the best, like being thrown into the fire like they were in that day. So I think that experience in the Conference League is going to help them. And yeah, you're saying Ferencváros is a tough test, but they're not Chelsea. This is a team that's gone up against Chelsea. They didn't do well, but they have that experience, that recent experience. And I think this team has a lot of potential. I'm excited to see how far Noah goes.
No, I'm excited too. Don't get me wrong. I think the Chelsea win, yeah, that experience is valuable, but it was an 8-0 thing. The game was over before halftime at that point. So, like, how much do you really learn from that unless you have the sort of willpower? So it just goes to show the individuals on both the coaching side and the player side have that sort of willpower to not allow a loss like that to really deject them, because the same can be said about a loss like that tanking a team. So this is very good for Noah, because again, they went forward and they continued their season in the Armenian Premier League, and they had tough competition, but they also made the competition look easy. So being able to consistently keep that up, I think, is the most important thing for Noah, is that They're getting these reps. They're having the competition, both in the Armenian Premier League and outside of the Armenian Premier League. And despite that Chelsea game, I think they had what? I forget how many points they ended the group phase with, but
Right.
they end up getting some draws and a win, if I'm not mistaken. Those are valuable. That's something that, they can use towards playing a team like Ferencvaros. But the thing about Ferencvaros is not just and I'm sorry for the pronunciation. I'm sure some people watching are going to be like, oh, look at these guys, the way they pronounce. Please give me a break. At the end of the day, it's not just the players on the team that matter. It's the atmosphere, especially the away leg in Hungary. I believe it's in Budapest. Somebody correct me. But the fact is, I remember hearing the crowd, and that is a very hostile environment. Doesn't matter how good you are. Doesn't matter how skilled you are. That alone could help a team get an away win or a draw or whatever it may be to go on to the next qualifying round. Again, we're talking about former Hungarian champions that have somehow found themselves relegated into the qualifying rounds of the Champions League. So it's only going to get more tough from here for FC Noah, but it only adds to the legend that is being built behind the formerly named Artsakh FC.
Yeah, so that match will take place next week. And we don't know the details of where the first match will be. So interesting note here about Ferencvaros. Robbie Keane is the head coach for Ferencvaros.
Former LA Galaxy player, former Irish international, former, I don't know. He's not former. He's current beer lover.
That's a big name. Robbie Keane, the head coach for Ferencvaros. And they did win the Hungarian league last year as well. No idea why they're in the second qualifying round, but I'm assuming they'll be big favorites. But hopefully this will be a good FC Noah can provide a good result here. And moving forward, there's Conference League games as well. One more side note before we move on. The last Armenian Premier League team to advance to the second qualifying round was in the 2022, 3 years ago, when Punic made it to the third qualifying round before getting their doors blown off by Red Star Belgrade 7-0 on aggregate. But so we have seen an Armenian Premier League team advance in this stage, but it's been a few years. And of course, FC Noah hasn't done that ever in their history. But yeah, there's some Conference League teams as well. Punic, Urartu, they'll be battling it out later this week. Not a good start for them, I don't think. I don't think they did too well in their qualifying matches in the Conference League.
Yeah, just going back to the FC Noah stuff and about their history, I don't know why I was thinking about it just now, but like FC Noah, if you want to compare it to a person, they haven't even made it past elementary school.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to come up with an elaborate and creative way of thinking about this, just to contextualize just how cool and how sweet these sort of achievements are for such a new team. And yeah, some people can argue, okay, that's the team that's getting the most investment in Armenia. Okay, I'm sorry, but we have seen so many times in world football, doesn't matter how much money, doesn't matter how much oil money you put into a team, if the team is not good and the coaching is not good, it's not going to come together. How many years did we wait for Manchester City to win a Champions League? How many years did we wait to see PSG win a Champions League? How many billions of dollars they ended up spending? Not even close to the amount of money that the Armenian Premier League is seeing. And for, again, a team like FC Noah to be able to get that and, have a healthy sort of cycle of new players kind of also cycling in, cycling out with outside experience, bringing it into the Armenian Premier League and young Armenians learning from those people directly and indirectly, I think it's a match made in heaven.
Absolutely. It's going to be great to see, forget about even this year, just the future. It seems like something good is brewing there. And I really like to see it. The Punic, meanwhile, they're heading in the completely opposite direction. They lost in the Conference League in their first leg to a team from San Marino. That's not.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That's news to me because San Marino is one of the worst national teams ever.
Yeah, and they lost 1-0. Now the second leg is later this week, and then Urartu lost to a club from Belarus 2-1 in their first leg, and the second leg is later on this week. Ararat Armenia is already clinched into the second qualifying round. They will begin action next week. So it looks like they're playing a team Romania, Universitate Cluj, or simply U Cluj. So We'll have a lot of Armenian football in these qualifying rounds throughout the summer. We'll keep an eye on it.
I hate to beat a dead horse with the stick, but San Marino are ranked 210th, and they're last in the FIFA rankings. I'm not a proponent of bullying at all, but it really needs to get to a point for Armenian sports fans where we got to start calling out certain Armenian athletes and Armenian teams that make these sort of egregious mistakes. I'm sorry, but that's not acceptable. I don't think that's acceptable at all to be losing to a club from a nation who is last ranked in FIFA rankings, especially when you're in Armenia. All this money's being put in, all this interest is in the sport and sports in general. And you're telling me you can't field an 11 that can take care of a team from San Marino? The team isn't even from San Marino. They got their documents from other countries so that they can come together and create a team. I don't know. To me, it's a very bad mark. And I don't understand, where's the accountability? Like, where is the accountability from the coaching? Where is the accountability from the league? Where is the accountability from the individual players? Because we've seen time and time again, other Armenian athletes or national teams not taking accountability for losses or just mistakes. Okay. In my career, I have to make sure that I apologize if I make a mistake and make sure I don't do that wrong again. But it doesn't seem like there's any accountability with these Armenian athletes. And then we keep on just wondering to ourselves why nothing is changing. Okay.
That's kind of like, I agree with you, but it's also what I was saying at the beginning. Punic has really, really dropped on the face of the Armenian Premier League.
And where's the accountability? And that's like one of the biggest teams.
They finished fourth in the Premier League. That's it. This is a team that routinely won the Premier League, and now they're finishing fourth. So
sounds like Manchester United before they started finishing 16th and 15th recently.
Fair enough. That's a similar. That's a good comparison. And but yeah, I mean they're a year removed from winning the Premier League, and but they're kind of all the hype. I don't get excited about Punic anymore. I get excited about when FC Noah is playing, because they're just like the shiny new toy. They're actually doing well, and it's great to see them thrive in European competition. Even playing against Chelsea, that was really cool. What happened last year, advancing to the Conference League and having that game, having that exposure. And in Punic, meanwhile, they're losing to a team from San Marino.
Yeah, and then we wonder why neighboring countries are blowing us out of the water when it comes to these sports, and why countries like Azerbaijan are fielding more UEFA club competition teams and all these type of all this money that's coming in, which I get it, the oil is helping tremendously. But it really comes down to seeing what they're doing right, what these countries like Georgia and Azerbaijan are doing right, and instead of saying, "Oh, sorry me, poor me," we got to start implementing more. And it comes down to, money can be unlimited. But if you don't know how to use the money, or if you don't know what you're doing and who to place where, and, hire certain people for these certain situations to develop the talent, I don't see really much, forward progress other than the Armenian diaspora. I mean, how many Armenian gyms, for example, are there? Like, I know it's a very silly question, right? But like, how many actual Armenian sports facilities are there that are easily accessible for the majority of the Armenian kids? I don't know. I don't mean to get too existential on this podcast.
It's a grassroots.
These are the questions, right?
It's a grassroots thing, but again, let's take the W's, and FC Noah is playing well, and hopefully we continue to see that. You're fired up today, Jason. I love it. Now let's talk about something that I'm fired up about. Is the MLB Draft. Now, the MLB Draft isn't as like immediate, I guess, as like the NFL Draft, where in the NFL or NBA Draft, where you draft a guy in the NFL or NBA and they can make an impact the following season. Where in the MLB, you get drafted and you might not be in the MLB for 5-6 years. So that happens. But we do have some good news. Is Ole Miss pitcher Sam Sarkis-Tukoyan of Fresno, California, was drafted by the Los Angeles Angels in the 20th and final round of the MLB Draft this past weekend. And I don't think it's an accident that the general manager of the LA Angels is Perry Manasyan, Armenian, drafting an Armenian pitcher. I don't think that was an accident at all, and I love to see it. It's great. I'm very happy for Sarkis, and he's been playing very well in the MLB Draft League. I think he pitched at some point. He had pitched 9 innings out of the bullpen and had recorded 13 strikeouts in that span. Fantastic, fast arm, big arm, and future's bright. Now he's in a good organization like the Angels. That's in the last couple of years have really been focusing on pitching. Last year, their pitching has been terrible in the last 10 years. Jason, this is a team that had Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout for like 7 years, and they never made the playoffs because their pitching was so bad. So last year, they spent all 20 rounds. They only picked pitchers. They didn't pick a single batter. And this year, obviously, with getting Tukoyan is another trend in that direction of drafting a pitcher. But the slight for me is Eddie Hacopian, fantastic infielder for the Maryland Terrapins, put up amazing numbers throughout his collegiate career and did not get the call. And, we're recording this on Tuesday, July 15. Maybe by the time we post this, he gets signed as an undrafted free agent. But that kind of surprised me, Jason. And it's give him a shot. You're Armenian GM. I know Perry Manasyan already spent a draft pick on an Armenian guy, but maybe his brother.
What about Zach?
Maybe Zach. Come on, San Francisco.
Zach up north. Keep him in California. You said that Sam was, by the way, not to jump around everywhere, but you said Sam was from Fresno?
Sam Tukoyan is from Fresno, yeah.
Okay, so I'll definitely have to do some digging and see if we can get an exclusive with him. But back to Eddie. I mean, it really comes down to, man, like, just give the kid a shot, because Maryland, is not a massive baseball program to begin with, but they got on the map. The Terrapins got on the map because of this brother duo and because of also the legacy that, their family and their dad especially has with the team. I get it. This past season, they didn't necessarily end the season on a good note, but at the end of the day, yeah, you're talking about the totality of his, career. You're talking about the totality of, what they were able to achieve in their conference and with Maryland. And you would assume, or at least hope, that a kid like that even gets a shot in the minor leagues. I mean, you're the baseball aficionado. When it comes to the minor leagues of the Angels and the Giants, who are we talking about with affiliates, right? There could be a couple teams.
Well, there's like 4 levels. Each team has 4 levels. There's like rookie ball, and there's single A, double A, then triple A. But there's definitely opportunities for him. There's definitely space for him out there, obviously, and it would mean requiring to signing him as an undrafted free agent, and he would probably get started playing there by the end of like this year. And next month he'll be playing in rookie ball, and they'll evaluate him, and if he's good, then they'll let him stay on for spring training and maybe single A and double A, and if he's good, he'll work his way up and eventually get called up by the big leagues. But we're looking at a guy who had an 852 on base plus slugging percentage, which is a very big indicator of a baseball player's performance. In the MLB Draft League, he was 11th overall with an 852 OPS from all players in the MLB Draft League. So I mean, he puts up good numbers. He's pretty fast. He finished with 17 stolen bases, which is 4th overall, 18 RBI, which was 8th overall. He's top 50, top 10, top 15 in all these major statistical categories. And we're looking at a guy in collegiately who consistently put up great numbers, and he works his ass off. This is a guy, great guy, amazing, work ethic, amazing personality. He's just a guy you want on your team. We've been covering him on ASN for a couple years now. I've met the family, just good dude. Like, this is the type of guy you want up in your system. Obviously, it's rare for an undrafted guy to make it to the big leagues, but if it's going to be anyone, it has to be a personality like Eddie Hacopian, like that grinder and maybe this is something that a team will recognize, sign him, and he'll have that chip on his shoulder and eventually work his way up. But hopefully, best of wishes for him. He gets his chance, because I think if he gets that chance, he will surprise some people. Fortunately, his brother, he has a better, he's more highly regarded as a prospect than his older brother. Chris Hacopian is the younger brother. He's going to be entering the draft next year, and I've read he might be a 1st round pick, so that'll be cool.
That would be huge, because shoot, again, I'm not the baseball aficionado. How many Armenians were picked in the first round in the MLB draft?
James Caprillion was the last one, and he had a solid. He had a career. He had a career.
He had a professional MLB career. Yeah,
Yes, he
yeah.
he kind of unfortunately had a lot of injuries, and those caught up with him, and
It is what it is. That's sports, right? But kind of going back to what you were saying, the Hacopian family, you met them, and when we're talking about like that younger generation, that new crop of talent that's coming in to not just baseball, but like a lot of other sports. I know baseball has its own culture too. You want that sort of character, right? Like nowadays, we should be hoping and vouching for more of those type of players that are positive additions to the bullpen, right? I don't know. I think that should be considered, right, by these teams. It should be considered by the GMs. And a kid like that who has the track record and, shoot, we try to do our best to highlight him. Maryland does a good job highlighting their players as well, just to see if this kid can get a chance. And I think that's what it comes down to, is just giving the kid a chance.
Absolutely. I think so. And, he's a big character guy, and that speaks a lot to his development, and you want to take a chance on someone like that. Hold on one second. Sorry. I'm going to put you on mute. Sorry, Jackie just got home. Okay, I'm back. We got to wrap up in like 5 minutes.
That's fine. Let's just mention the Nikolai Terteryan thing and call it there.
Cool. All right, moving forward, Jason, huge professional debut this weekend in Fresno. Nikolai Terteryan, amazing first-round knockout for the Olympian from Denmark. You were there to see it. What did you make of it?
So I think his opponent's name was Isa something. I don't remember what the opponent's name was, but what everyone remembers from that fight was the fact that, yeah, he made such easy work of him. You got Nikolai Terteryan walking out, and it's in the Save Mart Center in Fresno. Majority of the fans there are for the Mexican boxers that are part of the pay-per-view, so you can obviously tell that that's what the main demographic is. But you do have Armenian flags that are scattered around. I was sitting in a specific area where there were Armenian fans, and somebody who I knew that was messaging me about this, saying, "Hey, come out and support." I'm like, "Yeah, this because we made the post about it." So it was a kind of a funny reaction and a conversation, and nice to meet the local Fresno Armenians who were supporting Nikolai, but also Nikolai had support from LA and folks who had driven up 3 hours to just watch him make his pro debut. What was it, 46, 48 seconds in the first round? He got him really bad, I think, with body shots, a shot to the mouth and to his nose. I think he broke his nose. He falls down, and then, we get the still of, his opponent just sitting down like that, just in despair, while Nikolai is up and celebrating. And again, he made easy work of it. I'm sure if there's anything, constructive to take away from it, it's the fight ended so soon that Nikolai wasn't able to really show his repertoire.
That's a good thing, because we're going to see a lot of that going forward.
It's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I get it, because now it's, incentivizing the matchmakers to get Nikolai into another fight sooner. But the one memory that I have was his opponent had to be stretchered off. And I was a little confused, and I'm not trying to be insensitive by any means necessary. He got a couple of body shots. He got a shot to the nose. I get it if you have a broken nose. I get it if you lose your wind. But, he had to be carted off. That's how much damage his opponent got. And look, man, all credit to Nikolai, because I think he's going to continue to do this to his opponents. I think he's going to show that, the experience that he has earned him his spot in the Olympics. He didn't just deserve it, and he didn't just expect that opportunity to come his way. He earned that spot. And there is a difference when you have regional kids getting pulled, here, and you're putting them up against an Olympic champion. And that difference showed in that fight, which is a good thing for Nikolai, because now hopefully we get to see him in more important matches that maybe go the distance, something that, maybe tests him, but ultimately he prevails, because that's just the natural progression of him getting closer to a title.
Yeah, I mean, it's very early, and it's a great start. And we've seen that with other Olympians. Hovhannes Bachkov has made a pretty big impact in his young professional career. And he's obviously a few steps further from Terteryan, but hopefully that continues for Nikolai and his brother Sebastian, who couldn't make this fight because of a visa issue. He'll get his chance, and we're excited to see how they do. And it's going to be a great future for both of them.
It is really cool to see that European Armenian boxing legacy kind of continue, because when I think about European Armenian boxers, we all think about the same guy, Arthur Abraham. He's an absolute legend and made his mark in the German scene and everywhere else in Europe. Now you got these kids from Denmark, two brothers, and Nikolai, especially being the one who had just gotten the experience in Paris, following in some similar footsteps. And I think that's what we need. I think we need more solid boxers as well, because we focus a lot on UFC, and rightfully so when it comes to MMA, not UFC, but MMA in general. That it's cool to also highlight the classic, combat sport. I guess,
of course, boxing, wrestling,
classical, boxing, to be able to see that. And it's needed, because boxing does need a revitalization, I would say, because more fans are needed in sports in general. And if we can get more Armenian fans to be on board with boxing and find new people to follow, it helps grow the sport in general.
For sure, Jason. And, so a lot of things to be excited about. And we'll definitely keep an eye out on all of that and what's to come as well. So that's about all the time we have for this week on the ASN Podcast. Jason, thanks so much for taking the time, and we'll see you next time.